All right, so this is the first episode that we're recording of our Grinders podcast. I'm Dino Mike, and this is my co-host Noob Weapons.
Hello, I am Noob Weapons.
So I just thought we'd start off with something really easy. We played on the Fishermen in SPL last season, and in season 2 we were on the Marauders, and in season 1 we both played JSL on the Wreckers.
Yes, we did. We had
Undefeated.
good times had by all.
And I think we both went to the finals once each, right? You in season 1 of NSL,
Yeah, season 1 NSL.
Oh, and then you did an SPL too, so you
And
were
then
twice.
I did an
I was
SPL.
once.
Yeah. You went to the
and-
finals in JSL.
Yeah, and JSL 2, and Panther was season 2 and SPL as well.
Yep.
So you two have a little bit more finals experience, but that's fine. Wanted to talk about how you found Slapshot to start.
How I found Slapshot. Okay, the day it launched, Donut Gaz posted a thing on the Reddit, the gaming subreddit, and it reached the front page, and it reached my front page, and it's like, oh, what is this? A new physics-based hockey game, similar vein of Rocket League. That sounds fun, and it's free. Definitely got to try it. Then I download it, and I see it's like a fast download. It's like, hey, cool. And then I go in, it's like, hey, this is kind of cool. I want to keep doing that. Then I just kept playing, and here I am almost a year later.
Yeah, no, I have a little bit of a different story, and you definitely found it way before me. But I remember just looking up hockey games to play, and then someone from the NHL community that I was a part of was like, "Hey, try this one," and I ended up playing it, and I wasn't very good at first. I almost raged out, but I eventually did get pretty decent. It only took like
it's one of those
memes. Here comes
the
memes.
It is one of those games you just got to stick with. It's like Rocket League. You got to stick with it. You're going to be terrible when you first play it. You're going to be absolutely terrible, and you just got to keep grinding it out, and then eventually you start doing pretty well for yourself.
I think I was more privileged in the beginning though, because I ran into you, Panarin, Papa Bear, some of the other Xeneron, like in my first 5 games or 10 games. So I easily learned what works and what doesn't. I remember Xeneron would literally just go around the net and slam it backhand on everybody, and I was like, okay, so let me try that, and I started doing it and winning. So back then, nobody really was great aside from the guys that were big, like Gubby and stuff.
Yeah, it was quite a different landscape back then. So many different players have come and gone in this game.
Yeah, and it's been under a year, right? A little bit.
Yeah, just a little under a year.
So on this podcast, we thought, since we heard Chris and Belucha and Rodeo do a good job on their second one, doing a top 20, that me and Noob would combine our thoughts about our top 20s, because me and him, we've played basically over 2,000 hours combined. You have obviously a lot more than me, but it's something around.
Yeah, I got let's see, just over 1,000. Yeah, I am gonna go look. Yeah, I am gonna go look. I think 1,048 on the main and about 300 on the Smurf.
So compared to your hours, it's probably Panarin and Dream who have the second and third most. And then
pretty much.
I probably fall right behind there, maybe a few others in between where I am, but I mean, it wouldn't be the Grinders podcast without how much we've grinded, and me and you pretty much have grinded pubs relentlessly, because you can go look at the leaderboards, and me and Noob are pretty much top 3 in almost everything, I think. Or we were. Noob still is. I might not be, but so before we jump into the top 20, we thought we would just mention the SPL falling, a bit, and the cheating allegations and stuff that became a lot of just kind of rumors and stuff. I don't know if you want to address any of that, Noob.
Well, the way I see it is that if you're going to accuse someone of cheating, you got to have some sort of evidence to back it up. If not, then how can you do anything? How can you make a decision on the fate of a player's either competitive play or their entire time in Slapshot just because of allegations of cheating?
Yeah, no, and I agree with that. And I think that's personally why I went to someone. We spoke about it. I went to Bobby Grizz and I asked for his opinion, and he was pretty open about the fact that, you know what I mean, he thinks completely everything's legit, and it made me feel a lot better, like having him walk me through exactly any questions I had. And there are a lot of players who, you know what I mean, they don't really know exactly. Like I had that macro thing that happened early on. You remember that with Kodiak and Q-Dub.
Yeah,
And
yeah, they thought you were macroing to cheat in JSL,
no,
and it's just well, the thing is, you were just holding the puck on your backhand and pressing forward.
yes. So,
And
but they didn't like how fast I think I was spinning, and I
yeah,
think
well, in the end, you were perfectly transparent with them and showed everyone what your setup is.
exactly. And I mean, honestly, we all want everyone to be legit because, you know, you have it. Well, let's open it up. We have a team like the Clappers that is the best in the game. They've won every final there was to win. They pretty much win every tournament there is to win.
Yeah,
And, you know, honestly, the good thing about this whole situation is when you become that good of a team, that almost will come out to play in anything because it's so rare to find a team that wins like that.
yeah,
You
they're
want,
basically Slapshot's version of the Patriots right now.
yeah, I
They
mean
win
that's
all the time, man. It's
that's
as much as some people may not like it. If you don't like it, get good enough to beat them. That's all there is to it.
and honestly, we've tried and we didn't do too well. But I do think I hope they stay just as good for Slapshot too, because I want to see on a landscape where I don't know, maybe we're able to play a little bit better and the game feels a bit better if we're able to compete a little bit harder. I think the biggest downfall and why I had such a fallout after the finals is because it felt like me and you couldn't play our game, and I think that made, you know, it didn't make it as fun as I would have hoped. Because I told you before we even played the finals, like if we lose, it's okay. Like it's the best team in
Yeah,
the game. Like we
yeah,
might as well
definitely.
just give it our all, and I don't think we did. And I don't think I honestly know you couldn't because you were not really able to move enough.
Yeah, yeah, I know. Incoming memes about fishermen lagging, but
Yeah.
for real though, the game was a slideshow by the third game in that series for me.
Yeah,
It's
no,
it's just the luck of the draw. Sometimes Slapshot will run okay, sometimes you'll get that.
yeah, no, and you know, despite all the memes, it's okay because like other people are as well. It's not like it's just our team.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
I think a lot of teams would actually be a little bit more competitive if the game ran better. I can tell you, you see how good someone like Dennis is. You imagine if like the game
Yes.
performed better and felt better, he'd probably be top 3 player in the game. And I can't wait to go over this when we do the list, but I obviously think very highly of him because I played him a ton. I think almost more than anybody because he used to OG run
Yeah, we
clubs.
yeah, I remember playing with against them all the time back then.
And you got someone like Cocky Walrus who might actually be higher on people's power rankings if he could actually play the game. I mean, that might be his own connection, but sometimes it is server related. I know it is. You know, you and Panther get
Yeah.
screwed that way. I really didn't pick a good team of people with good connections. I pretty much just
Yeah.
chose the worst of the bunch. I mean,
Yeah,
Brady's
pretty
Brady's
much.
pretty good though. But
Brady seems to have pretty good connection.
yeah, no, he seems, and I think he's already. I don't know if he's on the Clappers SPL lower team. I don't think he is, but I know teams have been interested in him, which is good because we saw how good he was stepping in for us.
Yep.
But I think it's time we finish that discussion because we don't want to focus the whole podcast on that. We want to get to the fun part. We want to talk about me and Noobs, and this is going to be a little bit different than the top 20 that Chris did with Belucha and Rodeo because our top 20 is just anyone who still currently has touched the game that basically best from I don't know how to word this correctly, but top 20 all around players who still play the game. So that's not limited to just SPL. You know what I mean? If someone plays Pugs more than SPL, didn't really play SPL, or you get what I'm saying. Basically, it's all
Yep.
around talent, not just
Yeah.
offensive. Because I know that top 20 that they did was very offensively heavy. So
Yeah, and the qualifiers for this is it's going to be NA only because we only have experience with the players in NA.
Yeah,
Also, we are not including ourselves on this list. These are
yeah,
a top 20 players that we see from our perspectives.
yeah. No, it wouldn't be fun to put us in the top 20, to be honest. And
Yeah, there's
um, I think people would just kind of even extra meme us if we were to do that anyway. And we're not trying. We're trying to
yeah.
have fun, and honestly, it's even cooler to do us without it because then I feel like it might even add a player or two that you might have not seen in the top 20 if me and Noob just like dropped each other. You know what I mean?
Yep.
All right, so the fun part about this is me and Noob are going to talk about each player. We're going to go from top to bottom, but Noob doesn't know the list. So what I did is I made me and Noob make our own top 20, and I combined points to determine the master list, basically, of our opinions of who's the best in the game right now from 1 to 20. And it kind of goes like if you got first overall, you got 20 points. If you got second, you got 19. So it's not like a perfect rating system, but I thought it was something quick we could throw together just for our opinion at this moment right now. And if there's one Noob that I'm not sure about that maybe you put over me, I'll probably just have you talk about them because I might not know much.
Okay.
But we'll see how that goes. And we're gonna start off with number one, who got 40 points. Undeclared winner. We all know who it is. It's Panarin.
Yeah, there's no surprise here. Panarin's been, in my opinion, the best player in the game for the longest while. The thing about Panarin is that he's got, by all accounts, the best positioning of any player I've seen in the game. He reads plays so perfectly well. He's almost impossible to get anything past him because he can just see the play develop as it happens. Plus, he's
Eh,
got top-notch mechanics too.
Yeah, and
But
honestly,
it's his
oh,
but it's his
sorry.
position. It's his positioning overall that's what puts him over the top because he's always in the right position at the right time every time.
Yeah, and for me to really be a number one on any list, I have to be able to drop you anywhere and you'll be elite. And I feel like honestly that pretty much is a good indicator for the top five in my opinion. But Panarin probably would be the best at every spot everywhere, even on his own team. And when you can do something like that, I mean, when you're already playing with some of the best players, like you are the best player. So
Mhm.
I mean, that one's easy. We don't have to really keep going there. We'll move on. Meat Sale came in second with me and Noob's opinion at 38 points. So he was second on both our lists. If you want to start about Meat Sale, go ahead.
Where to begin with Meat Sale? When we first encountered him, we didn't see a whole lot in season one JSL, but once he got picked up and taken under Panarin's wing, he really became something else. His mechanics became really top notch, maybe better than Panarin's in that regard. He's very off gifted on the offensive side of the puck, on the side of the ice, where he can make plays happen with big dekes and perfect centers. Like I, it is fun to watch Meat Sale do his thing. May helping the Clappers win the championship.
Yeah, and I think what you didn't even add is his defensive side of the game is
Yeah, that's
almost
right
also
too.
comparable with Panarin because
That's
if you
right
watch some of
too.
the Clappers games, he was playing third. Like that's awesome.
Yeah, his defense is honestly what put him over the top in my debate for number 2 and 3 because
Yeah.
I think he is a lot better defensively than our number 3 selection.
Yeah, and that's fine, and that's why it's so important when you make the master list to really, when we're doing an all around one, you really want to have someone like that as the top two because they're rare. Once again, if Meadsale was dropped on any team that's half decent, I feel like he would be their best player without even like an extra thought.
Mhm.
So we're gonna move on now. Number three with 36 points is Rodeo. And honestly, I'll start with this one. Not really much of a surprise here either. Me and Noob both picked him third. He has all the MVP credentials there is to have. He was top notch every season. He led the SPL in goals scored. I mean, he was our semifinal opponent. I think the thing that would stop Rodeo from ever passing the other two is his defensive side of the game. But that's also something that might be slightly untapped. So if you want to follow up, Noob.
Yeah, Rodeo has a knack for finding the back of the net. He can make dekes as well as anyone in the game. He's a very good person to pass to when he's your teammate. A lot of times if I have him as a teammate in public matches or in pugs, it's like instant chemistry. We're passing to each other so well. We're like reading each other's mind. He's such an awesome teammate to have.
Yep, that sounds pretty accurate to how I feel about Meat Sale as well. I mean, not Meat Sale, Rodeo. Sorry, I was reading the list. All right, so we're gonna move on. Number 4, we have, I believe it's Hawk. Yes, Hawk with 33 points. Now, this one is probably the first surprise on our list. I'll start off quickly with saying that Hawk is a player that me and Noob know very well and have seen play here and there, and he's probably one of the best passers in the game, and he has some awareness that is up there with Meatzel and Panarin, in my opinion. And he only got better over time.
Yeah, Hawk's passing is like second to none. Every time I run into him in public matches, he's always setting up, and it doesn't matter if his teammates are level 0 or if it's me or anyone else. He's setting us up so perfectly to take shots on net. He has such a knack for getting the puck to the open man. It is unreal.
Yep, I'd say that's a pretty accurate description of Hawk, and I'm glad we both can really agree on that one. Moving on, though, we'll keep going. Number 5, we have, another surprise, Ocelot with 31 points. So I'll start again here just because I have this on my mind. Pugs. I've played probably over 100 pugs. If anyone's able to shut Panarin down for a game, it's for whatever reason Ocelot. He just seems to be good, like one of those players who's good at everything, and also a player like Meat Sale that came out of nowhere and just became elite.
Yeah. Ocelot, he was pretty decent back in his early days. Like it always seemed like he was speed hacking to me. Not for real, but it felt like a speed hack because he was always moving so fast on the ice, really consistently. It's like he was the fastest player on the ice every time. But nowadays he's become truly an elite player he is such a sniper. Like he can find that net from any angle. I mean, he's one of the most accurate shots I've ever seen.
Yep. And he's got that French connection with his boys right now, too. That
Le
Quebec,
Baguettes.
yeah, the Baguettes team is going to be fun to watch when SPL starts back up. Going up next is Dream, not much of a surprise, with 30 points. Third member of the Clappers. Does everything very well, does it a little less well than Panarin and Meat Sale, but is more of the type of complementary player who would work probably even better than those two on any team for chemistry. He seems to be someone that's reliable, and that's probably why Panarin kept him around.
Yeah, Dream is one of the OG dangle gods of Slapshot. He is such a good all-around player. Like you can plug him in at any position, and he will excel no matter what. I always find him on the forecheck, very aggressive, always hitting us off the puck and winning it for his team.
Yep, I'd say it's pretty good. Next we have a tie at 7. Me and Noob both rated K-Spire and Chris with 26 points. Now, I'll start off by saying I think they're two different types of players. I'd say K-Spire is more of an offensive run-and-gun type of player, and Chris is more of an all-around, like almost like a midfielder where he can, and I think that's why Rodeo picked him up on his team too, because he is basically what I think positionally the Storm needed.
Yeah, not only is he positionally what the Storm needed, he provides that second offensive threat for when they need it. Because the Storm in season 1 or placement SPL, this Rodeo was their main offensive threat. Now they have Chris there as an extra offensive threat. Like that is going to be one of the most dangerous duos in this upcoming SPL season. because Chris is such a good player.
Yep, and to add to that, where Chris is more of the all-around guy, K-Spire is someone who just continuously got good. Started off the SPL season really hot, fizzled out slightly, but is still very noticeable when he plays. And I think he gets overshadowed a bit, because of the players that are, a little bit better. But obviously he's got a great shot and some of the best hands in the game.
Yeah, K-Spire really broke out when he carried the Salem Spartans to the JSL Season 1 finals. Yeah, he was such a good offensive threat there. I noticed that's when he was really starting to get his forecheck down, and that really helped the Spartans push to the finals. Nowadays, K-Spire is really good with his stick handles and his offensive presence, and he's someone you always have to watch out for, or else he's going to put one behind your in the back of your net.
I'd say that's pretty good. Okay, and next at 8 we have Jack with 22 points. I mean, this is a personal, obviously, choice by me and Noob. But I think he would be on anyone's top 10, really. Jack's the type of player he can fill in, and you'll have that offensive threat maybe that you were missing beforehand come available. He has a great shot, really good hands. Not the greatest defensively, but still reliable, rotates well, and I think that's why me and Noob picked him up for our SPL team.
Yeah, Jack makes a terrific complement to any team that needs someone who can help take you to the next level. Jack is very gifted moving the puck and taking shots at net. He has one of the hardest shots on net I've seen in the game.
Yeah, it's basically like almost the second coming of Meat Sale with some of his shots. I've seen it firsthand in Pugs too, where he can be very, very dangerous from anywhere.
He just needs to pass the puck more, and he'll be truly, truly elite.
Yup, no, I'd say that's pretty much the complaint people I think have had about him. And outside of that, I mean, look at how many teams picked him up or wanted to. The skill's there.
Yeah, he was our reserve in Season 1 JSL, and he pulled through to help keep us undefeated in that championship series where I wasn't allowed to play.
Yeah, no, he was very good in that. At 9, we have Shiba. He got 17 points combined from me and Noob.
Oh, Shiba is such a good player. He's a guy I would love to have as a teammate in any situation. He's so aware at passing the puck. He knows that pass plays are how you win games. He knows to pass the puck all around the ice, and he can make some moves himself too. And he's got that famous Shiba defense that you'll see frequently by level 1s. But it works.
Yeah, and he's a dev now too, so.
Yes, he is not only is he a dev, he is the first dog to be a game developer. So how about that?
Yeah, and
no other game can claim that.
Yeah, and obviously it's hard not to mention him without saying that he compliments his brother really well too.
Yeah.
I think they have good chemistry, and like they said on the other podcast, I think the Sedin twins are a really good comparison for those two. Shiba's probably more of the Henrik though, whereas Kim Jong is Daniel. But that's okay. I mean, they were both talented in their own right, and I think Shiba has just a little bit more hands and vision. But still two very good players, and Shiba makes our 9th spot. And at 10th, we have Dennis with 16 points. Now, I know this was not on your list, so I'll probably just quickly go over it.
Go ahead.
Noob has not seen Dennis play a lot lately, but I saw his work in the playoffs and even in pubs, and just watching him in his season games. I think he only played a few, but the talent is still there, and he still carries teams when he plays. So if he was obviously more available and was still interested in the game, he'd probably be higher on our list.
Yeah, I have a recency bias here because, again, I haven't seen him really anywhere in either public matches, and we didn't play him in the SPL games, and I was usually too tired to watch any SPL games on stream.
So that makes sense, but obviously when he was in, he was extremely dominant.
Yeah, Dennis was always good. Like back in the day, he was always really good, man. Like, he became a top tier player in no time when he first started playing. So I mean, we disagreed on where he's positioned here, but I don't disagree on the fact that he's a top 10 player because he is that good.
Yeah, no, I'd say that's a fair estimate. With number 11, which is FSI, with a combined 15 points. This isn't really too much of a surprise. I feel like FSI might have been higher if the Storm had beaten us in that semifinal. But, I mean, he's an all-around great player and obviously one of the strongest defensive players in the game.
Yeah, FSI is truly a jack of all trades player these days. He does everything on the ice, but his main trait, like Mike said, is defense. He's one of the best players in that regard. It's hard to get anything past him.
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty accurate. And obviously for the Storm to do as well as they did and go as far as they did and have Rodeo once again lead the charge, even though we know he does carry a bit, your team has to be good around you for you to do well. There really is no ifs, ands, or buts about that. And that's why the top teams stack, the best of the best. Because, positionally it helps too, but when you have a player like FSI on your team, like you said, who's more of like a Swiss Army knife, you know you're going to get the results.
Yeah, he was on the NSL Season 1 finalist team, the DC Slappers.
Yeah, so
There's that.
that also adds to it as well. And you guys went to 7 games versus
Yes,
the
we
Clappers,
did.
so that was
Yes,
definitely
FSI was absolutely a rock in defense for us that series.
and obviously that's the closest anyone's ever come to beating the Clappers in a final. So
Yep. The only question about FSI is, did he lift his stick?
yep.
Stay tuned.
That's about it. Okay, number 12, we have Wrath and Chef Reno with a tie at 12 points. And I'd say that's a pretty good combination because those two are both, once again, really, in my opinion, good defensive players who played a good role on their teams. Even though Wrath kind of moved up, I think, a bit more because Hellhaunt was playing goalie this season or last season.
These are actually two fairly different players, in my opinion. Wrath is a guy who shined number 2 spot, where he's that second man moving the puck up, feeding the puck to his offensive guy for a one-timer. Whereas Chef Reno excels playing the third man back, playing in net defense, sending the puck up to teammates. He did that a lot to us in that series, and that's how they got quite a few of their goals. Chef Reno picked Rodeo out so perfectly, and the whole Romo to Rodeo connection worked out great for them all season long, and he's a really good defender.
I think it's tough for me to really pinpoint Wrath because when I think of Wrath, I remember him early on. Didn't he play against us in JSL?
He did play up against us in JSL both times. He also played against us in S.
Yeah, this time around, he's definitely more offensive than what I remembered, but I still remembered someone to be feared. Like he's gonna man to man you, stay with you the entire time, and obviously Chef Reno's only gotten better from the days of him letting LLD play. Now he's obviously always gonna play. All right, we can keep moving. We have 13, which is a tie with 11 points. You're going to be surprised at this one. Scods and Luigi. I think it's the Luigi, right? He goes by, or it's Luigi. I think both.
Yeah, I just wrote down Luigi, but we know who we're talking about.
Yeah,
the Luigi 9. Yeah, everyone knows who we're talking about.
I think, Noob, we have a similar opinion that on that Hootenannies team, he was the best player.
Yes, Luigi, of any player in the game, is the most annoying to deal with when it comes to him forechecking you. He is relentless. He hits you so hard. It's like impossible to get the puck out of your net and own end sometimes because he's so fierce on that forecheck. And he's also really good at moving the puck around too. So he's a very good player to have. A great addition to any team.
And I'd even say he's one of those like clutch goal scorer players.
Yes.
If you watch some of the goals. Definitely developed into the type of player I think any team should be knocking at if they needed a third. And then we have Scods, who I think was more of a choice of mine, but you can obviously recognize that defensively he's extremely strong, and he's always been like one of those shifty, smart players that isn't too fancy and keeps things simple.
Yeah, he's always been more crafty with the puck. Like he's not like a high speed make huge stick moves like blazing fast. He's patient with it. He'll take his time, move the puck around when he sees an opening, deke you out. When you think he's going to go one way, he goes the other, and you're thinking, wait, he went that way instead. He
And
does that.
he's always been kind of dependable on the back end, and I think that's what's always pushed maybe teams that he's been on that haven't always been the best but still competitive is because of their defensive play for sure.
Now, if only Belucha played him in that JSL semifinal against us.
I don't even remember, but
Yeah,
I'm trying to remember. He
yeah,
got sat out, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he got sat out. I mean, we were game planning for a team that included Scots, and then when they were someone else in there, say, "Whoa, that's different."
Yeah, we were a little bit more comfortable, I think.
Yeah, we were thinking it wasn't so much about our undefeated. It was more like we could potentially lose the series to that team.
All right, we can keep
with
moving
Scots.
Yeah, Scots. I obviously like him a lot, and he was definitely the best guy on my list. But we're gonna move now to 14 to someone we both know very well, who was our SPL teammate in Panther. Start off again. He obviously was a good pickup for us. We got to the finals with him, so he had to have been doing something right. He's definitely a very strong offensive player, probably one of the best offensive players when he's on. I think it's kind of the inconsistency that drew him back from being a little bit higher. But I think Panther as a pickup is, you're going to get some goals, and you're going to get a lot of speed and dekes.
Yes, if anyone were to need a solid third, Panther's always available for some reason, and he's always a dependable third. Well, he helped us get to the finals in SPL. I mean, that's pretty good.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Also, Panther is Slapshot's resident NASCAR.
Yeah, I think like when we talk about these players and we have knocks, because usually we're trying to stay positive with this, but I think another thing that keeps Panther a little bit lower than he should be is the connection, and I think that kind of creeps into his ranking a little bit, because I think he would have definitely been near the Dennis level or FSI if his connection was even half decent most of the time.
Yeah, his connection is actually the biggest inconsistency about him, to be honest, because sometimes he'll just lag out really bad.
But it's the way he plays, Noob. That's what I mean. When you have someone who's high skilled, if their connection's not good, I feel like I even run to that through that trap sometimes, where if my game's not playing well, like my game just falls apart because I just like to be high deking and high movement, and sometimes you just have to play simple, and I don't think I'm very good at that. But
when Panther goes NASCAR, he tells us, and we make sure to try to hit people out of the way because he's coming through.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the best speed players too. With that, he's definitely one of the best at that. At 15, we have a pick that I need you to explain, because I don't think for once, even though I played all these pubs and pugs, and here's a player I don't know much about, and it's Shrub.
Okay, Shrub.
At 15.
Yeah, the thing about Shrub is he has in recent weeks gotten really, really good with stick handles. He is legit one of the best at stick handling in public matches right now. He can move that puck at will. He can find a teammate, and he's a good scorer. Like, he's a guy that you see load in against you. If you're loading in solo queue, you see him load in on the other side. You're thinking, "Oh crap! I hope I get a good teammate," because he's one of those players. He's one of those players that if you guys have not thought about him in SPL, you better get him in SPL, because he will be a good addition to any team, pro division or not.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna add. Is if your opinion is pretty highly on this guy, I think an SPL team should take a waiver on him.
Yes,
at least try him out.
Yeah,
because,
at least.
I play a lot of pubs, and I don't really even I know he's good, but I haven't seen enough of him to really.
He's either as good, maybe a bit better than Brady, in my opinion.
Got you. And
That's
obviously,
about how good he is. He's quite good. He's one of those guys that if you don't have him on your SPL and he's not on an SPL, you better go out and get him.
Brady actually, and to add to that, Brady's not on our list, but I think he would also be another good addition to any SPL team. I think the biggest thing with him is adapting to the positioning of competitive threes. I think outside of that, he's probably like a shrub, right? You'd say?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, so that's a good comparison. All right, we're moving on. At 16th, we have a tie with 6 points of one. Well, I know this is one of my picks and one of yours, Kim Jong and Tyrant K. I'll go with mine, and you can go with yours. How about
All
that?
right. All right.
Kim Jong is Shiva's brother and has probably one of the better shots, or had one of the better shots last season. His stats were honestly insane, and he was not on like one of the elite teams. So for him to obviously not get any credit in the top 20, I feel like is a disservice. And honestly, there will probably be players that don't make this that I feel the same way about. The only thing is, I think his team play has gotten a lot better, and I think he will only get better at the game when he's playing with someone like Shiva. So there's always benefits with playing with someone who we consider a very good player, for sure.
Yeah, the thing about Kim Jong is I've always thought he was a good team player. It's his offense. For me, it's the reverse. It's all his offense that's gotten a lot better because Kim Jong's always looking for the pass. Even though he had the most points on his team, he's always looking for pass first, and I like that in a teammate. And whenever I get a group with Sheba and Kim Jong and we're pub stomping, there's almost no one that can stop us.
Yeah, with
The
the
puck
quick
movement is
decision-making.
the precision puck movement is extreme, and Kim Jong does play a big part in that, and I completely understand why you put him here.
And at 16th, your choice was Tyrant. I'll just say something really quick. I've
Mhm.
played him in pubs, and he got noticed pretty quick. And obviously, this is why you clearly think very highly of him.
Yeah, the thing about Tyrant is that he's someone who just quickly shot up in terms of ability, that Panarin took notice and put him on his his open division Clompers team, and he is the best player on that Clompers team by quite a bit. Tyrant has quickly developed some of the best mechanics in the entire game. He's just a little inconsistent on defense right now, which is the only thing really holding him back from a top 10 spot, in my opinion.
Gotcha. Okay.
But
Well,
other
then,
than that, he is
gotcha.
very, very gifted offensively.
And now at 17, we have someone who created the SPL in QDub with 5 points combined. I am pretty sure he might have made both of our lists, but actually maybe yours. But I could see why you'd pick QDub because this is well rounded, and that's pretty much the name of the game with QDub. Is he's a player who could kind of be put everywhere, and he can build chemistry with any team.
Yeah, QDub is a well-rounded player. One of the best aspects about him, in my opinion, is he's always so good at finding a way to get the puck in front of the net. Like, he doesn't do a whole lot of dekes, but when he does, the puck pretty much 80% of the time finds its way in a dangerous spot in front of your net, and you're thinking, "Uh-oh, they're going to score on us."
And on that Nashville team, I would definitely argue he was the most consistent, and he was a big reason why his team made it as far as they did, or got so close to making the playoffs.
Yeah, they were just one spot shy of the playoffs. However, since we dropped out of SPL, they obviously got promoted because they were the next team. But they were one of those teams that were just on the cusp of greatness, and QDub was easily a big factor why they play so well.
Gotcha. And next we have at 18, one that you're going to explain, because once again, this is someone you've seen because of experience playing a ton of pubs, is Donut with 4 points.
Ooh, Donut, he's one of those guys that always has a knack of getting on the puck and making the right play, regardless if you're defending him well or not. He is very fast on the ice. He is a good teammate to have. He just knows what to do. He's good position. He's a good all arounder. If you need a good as a third, then you got to pick him up. I think in some instances he can carry his team to some extent.
And
Not
honestly,
not
what
so
what
much
team
at
was he on
the
again?
pro. Well, he was on the Boston Barrage.
Yes, and he was probably the best player on that team.
Yeah, he was the best player on that team by far.
And I know people are thinking like, oh, we don't know this name. You know what I mean? Like there are
Oh,
other
I
names
I
that
knew
could
him.
be here.
I knew I before SPL. Considering Donut was on the team, I thought they could potentially
Make
be
the
a
playoffs.
playoff team.
Yeah,
But unfortunately, that wasn't the case for them. But Donut definitely makes life difficult in a public match every time you go up against him.
and
But when
this
he's
is
on your teammate, you're thinking, "Yeah, we got this in the bag."
someone obviously that you're willing to put over some other good players because you see potential in him, and I like that.
Yes.
I think it's fun to mix up the end of the list. And we're going to move on now to one of my choices for sure with this one. This is someone who's improved a lot and I think led his team to almost making the playoff. It is at 19 with 3 points. Yuri Gagarin. You have to do the ghoul voice here.
Yuri Gagarin.
that
All
is
right.
perfect. All right. So with Yuri, I mean, I had to pick him almost exclusively, not even from SPL, from Pugs. He is someone who, when you get in Pugs, you know you have a very good chance of winning with. It's almost like an Oceloth, where the competitive games with him are just so much easier. He's one of the most reliable defensive players in the game, probably one of the best. Why he falls so far is I feel like his offense is probably mediocre at best, but he makes up for it by obviously being a perfect third.
Yeah, Yuri was on that Chicago Sail team that did beat us, and he's their best overall player because he's a good all arounder. But yeah, as Mike said, his strength is defense and not quite offense.
But the consistency is there.
Yeah, yeah,
And that will
he's
win you
very
games.
he's very consistent on defense, and that is something you have to have if you're gonna go far as a competitive team.
And we'll finish this up with our 20th picks. It's two again as well, making it 25 players and 20 spots. It's I don't know if this is going to surprise you, but it's Lucha and Cocky Walrus. I'll just start off with Cocky Walrus probably fell farther than he should have because of his connection. He's a player I put in the top 5 for the NSL Season 2 draft. I feel like the connection really limited his play time.
Mhm.
And for Belucha, just a quick add is I feel like that's someone who's improved a lot over time, whereas Belucha would probably get memed on as terrible maybe a few seasons ago, a few months ago. Now he not led his team, but was a nice part in why the Omelets made the playoffs.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. Belucha is quite underrated. I didn't think of him in top 20, but you did. But I can agree. He is quite underrated. Like, you don't think much of him until you have him scoring multiple goals on you. And then you're thinking, wait a minute, Belucha's actually good. How about that? But in all
Yeah,
seriousness, Belucha is one of the one of the developers of the game. So he obviously has some of the most time in the game.
yeah,
And
and that'll help you. And I think
yes.
although a few seasons ago we probably wouldn't have thought much of him.
No,
Now
but he
now
he
he's
really has improved his team play in a highly competitive setting.
and outside of the maybe a few nerves here and there, I mean, he's improved everywhere, and like I said, helped the Omelets to
Yes.
score all those points, score all those goals. I mean,
Mm.
like I said, everything's really team related, and he was really good at feeding the puck when he needed to and making the save to make sure that the Omelets won some games.
Yeah, and a note about Walrus is that Walrus he's one of the best at catching pucks to one time of almost anyone in the game. When I saw him play in season 2 SPL, he was doing that all the time. Rodeo would feed him the puck and he would just bury it. He's really, really consistent at those one timers, and he's always a threat when he's in your zone. As a matter of fact, I thought highly of him in the season to draft that. If I didn't make that trade with Reno, I was going to take Walrus with my pick, which was one
Yeah.
spot ahead of Rodeo, who took him with that pick.
And we can say for Walrus, he might have gotten overshadowed in our list because of how good K Spire got. Whereas a few months ago, it would have been the other way around. You would
Yeah,
have had Walrus
definitely.
where K-Spire is and K-Spire where Walrus is. It's just, some players improve a lot, and I think Hockey Walrus's connection really dropped him. So we're gonna do some mentions. I think I have mine, and then you can throw a few more in, Noob, if you have. For
Okay.
me, I had Seppi, who is extremely strong goal scorer in SPL. I think I just need to see more of him to really believe that it's truly there. Wallster, who also is someone who continuously scores a lot of goals, but I think the team performance didn't help his spot too well. But he also, I think, needs to work about other aspects of his game too. I'm trying to think who else I have. Vork is another one who got a lot better for the Chicago Sale. I think it's his inconsistency that really keeps him from being on any of these spots. But obviously, very much improved player. Super Duper Kyle, obviously a very good player. Helped out the Smokers get to where they are. He does kind of get rid of the puck really quick, but he's reliable as a third, and that really helped the Smokers compete against the Clappers. It was a 2-1 series. Obviously, that was a really huge team effort from the Smokers, who I don't even think used Dennis in that semifinal round. I'm pretty sure they didn't.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Kyle, K-Spire, and Walrus.
Yeah, which is very impressive to go 2-1 versus them. And then we have CC, who obviously has taken a big break from the game, but if he had come back in, probably would have made this list. So if you have any to add to that, or if you want to talk about
I've got a couple honorable mentions as well. Well, my first honorable mention is Galsey. He is someone who we thought quite highly of in season 2. Unfortunately, I wish it worked out better, because he's still a really good player and he is a pretty good fit anywhere he goes. Galsey has some of the best hands in the game. He is so good at moving that puck and finding the pass that Baguettes team is going to be a big threat in open division. They are probably the favorite because of that lineup they've got.
I actually
in open division
on my list too, but then I think I swapped a name.
Okay.
He's someone who obviously I told you to draft. I thought very highly.
And I still think very highly of Galsey. He's got lots and lots of potential.
No, absolutely, and he's obviously a very smart player too. So I mean, it might come in time. Like, he might get better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it helps that he was pro at Rocket League to have that acumen when it comes to playing threes in a setting like this.
Yeah, I think the transition is pretty fluid. Dream, Panarin, all those guys, Bobby Grizz, all these guys are grand champs Rocket League, and then they come here and they kind of understand the team aspect of these games and the mechanics. And for a game that has a much higher skill ceiling, in my opinion, all opinionated over there, to come here, it's just natural.
Yeah, definitely.
Is there any other mentions that we forget?
Yeah, and my final mention, my final honorable mention is, and this is probably one of the most underrated players in the game right now, and that would be Oscar.
Oh, that's right.
Also known as Random Player. I mean, yes, he did spend 60 levels in net, but once he started coming out of net, he started developing hands, and he can make some pretty good moves. And you also got to take into account, he's usually at 80 to 100 ping doing these moves. Like, and he makes these ridiculous saves that if I had 60 ping, I wouldn't be making half of these saves that I do, let alone the crazy saves that he does. And he knows how to pass. He knows how to shoot. He's always doing stuff, and he's just so underrated that a lot of people probably overlook him.
Noob,
There's other reasons why people would overlook him, but
yeah.
We'll get into that another time.
Yeah, we're not going to get into that. But Ghoul, I think, would be another name as well. That
yes,
he honestly, he needs a lot more game and skill and work. But he's someone who's probably gotten 2 times better in the span of a month.
Yeah, he's really improved over the past month or so. Ghoul, okay. the other day, it's like I'm queuing pubs and I see Hashik, Terry, and Ghoul is carrying them
Yeah,
hard. Like
yeah,
Ghoul has got really developed into a good player, and he's only going to get better from here.
yeah. No, and he's also like Vork. They're both very young.
Yeah, they're
So
both they're both really young. They're like Ghoul's
so
14, Vork's what,
15. Yeah.
11?
They're both
No,
like 15.
Vork is like 11.
No, Vork said he was 15.
You sure about that?
Yeah.
Because Jack's 15.
I don't know. That's what Vork had told me. But
I
the
remember
thing
Vork
about when
Vork
you're
was
that
telling
young
me he
is
was
they
11.
they, they
Yes.
probably get rattled a little bit easier than everyone else. So obviously with
Yeah.
age comes probably more skill, to be honest. But I mean,
Yeah.
everyone's different.
But yeah,
So we'll see.
Ghoul does keep a good attitude though. He doesn't
Yes.
give up.
Very positive attitude, which will only help him do well in open division.
Yes.
And I'll speak for him here. That Rick and Reek situation was all availability. I think
Yeah.
in the end he did like those players, but they just didn't have the right schedule to play for him to be able to schedule around himself. So we understand there, and that's something.
Yeah, that's something that I did mention to Ghoul as well, that while I was scheduling JSL, a lot of the times one or the other wasn't available. And it wasn't a big deal doing JSL scheduling season 2 because we had such a deep roster that we could pick any player and plug them in. But in the SPL where we only had 4 guys max, having 1 or 2 of them out is not ideal.
Yeah.
But especially when you want to build team chemistry. So I completely understand why Gould made the move. It had nothing to do with their play because they're both good players. They're both a really good duo. It's just Gould needed players that can play more consistently, that he can build chemistry with as the season goes on.
Our
Or
number one pick
availability.
was actually Jascon, by the way. I made a mistake with the wording. It wasn't Panarin. It was 41 points with Jascon. I gave him an extra.
Yep. Yeah.
Sorry.
I
My
mean,
bad,
he's a
Jascon.
god. He's a god in Modern Warfare 2. What do you expect?
And his 5-minute chat logs in game are probably really exciting for the devs to run.
Yes, I love it when I run into Jascon. He's like, "Hi, remember me?" It's like, yeah, the first time we loaded in to a game with Jascon, he's like, "Hi, Noob, you remember me?" It's like, I'm sorry, I don't. And he's just
You
doing
just keep
his,
doing it each game.
he just does it each game, and he just kind of,
Funny.
he kind of ended up being that's Jascon. It's like, "Hi, Jascon," and then I started pretending to be him on my Smurf.
Yeah, and
Doing the talking and everything, doing the hi, remember?
Oh, that's great. I didn't even know about that. That's funny.
Yeah, I'd pretend to be Jascon a lot back then, but he hasn't played until a lot recent. Like, he hasn't played much.
Gotcha. All right, are you ready to finish this up?
Yeah,
2
sure.
opinions.
Slap 2 opinions.
Now listen. Can I drop the truth about what happened with you? Are we allowed to?
Well, I guess you can go into some detail, but obviously I can't go into much detail given my position as a alpha tester. Then considering I'm now an alpha tester, but I cannot say anything about the game. I can't say anything about what goes on in the chat about the game.
Hold on. I'm gonna drop a spoiler. It's a hockey game.
Oh, dude, I told you that in confidence.
Yeah. I know now. I'm not gonna be able to test.
Oh no! Now everyone knows it's about hockey.
I'm not an alpha tester, but Noob is. That's something that's obviously very important, and I'm glad he was chosen, and I'm glad.
And thank you for that, Irvion Belucha, for allowing me to take part in alpha testing the game you are working so hard on working on and keeping a surprise for everybody.
And I think it's a big deal too for Noob to be in there because you gotta have the player who grinds the game the most. This is literally the Grinders podcast. He grinds the game more than anybody. You might as well put him in, like, you know what I mean. And he's a well liked guy, whereas some other people aren't. Obviously, nobody speaking right now is definitely But the point is that Noob, should have been picked, and I'm glad he was, and I thank the devs for that, or Vion,
Well,
Shiva.
the thing is, I wasn't too bothered about it because I felt they have their reasons for who they pick, and my time would come eventually
Yeah.
to get to test out Slap 2. And again, non-disclosure, I cannot reveal anything about the game. The only thing I can talk about is what's already been announced in these
Yep.
Slapshot announcement pages. Like
But
the pond. Where did they announce the pond? Because that's a cool idea. The pond.
I wanted to drop, since you can be open about this. Do you have like a few things? I think this would be a good thing to end, like a wish list. Like 3 things. Can you think about maybe on a wish list you'd have, or even
Oh,
just a few? And I'll
oh.
drop mine too.
Well, my biggest wish for Slap 2 is please don't make slap or lag stick a thing.
Well, yeah, that's almost
Please,
guaranteed.
because that's been haunting me all year long. I've been dealing with lag stick.
One thing that
And
I
what
thought would be
else?
good is like a ranked solo mode, right? If
Hmm.
you could just drop into a rank thing like a pug, and it would be
Yeah.
separate from the regular game, and it could be something like when you play the regular game, you can maybe still have a ranking and still unlock stuff, but then there's like a ranked solo drop in where
Yep.
it's maybe 3 5 minute periods. So it wouldn't necessarily eliminate public play. Like people would still prefer that maybe just want to play a little bit or don't have the time. But if you wanted to put in a full 15-minute effort, you could. Maybe that would be a decent idea.
Oh yeah.
Kind of like pugs, but in the game, so we don't have to put
Or
all the effort through Discord.
like Rocket League solo standard.
Yeah, exactly. And I know we don't want to split up competitive things, but if you make the games longer, maybe if it was 10-minute games, people would be more inclined to just play pubs if they don't have that type of time. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So you kind of get the best of both worlds there, and maybe you'd only have 30 to 40 people grinding pugs, whereas you'd have, when this game drops, hopefully like over 300 people pubs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you'd only be able to play solo in rank. So if you want to play with a buddy, like if I wanted to play with you, we'd go into pubs. So it's not a huge deal.
Okay. Yeah, that's like the solo standard mode in Rocket League.
Yeah. Do you have any other wish lists? I know one of mine was a mini game mode, but
Yeah,
once
yeah,
again,
yeah.
that's splitting up the playlist, so people would not
Yeah.
want that.
One of my wish lists is like how Rocket League has these different custom game modes you can do in a private, like how you can have like
Ooh,
pinball or moonball or like
that'd be neat.
insta demos, like just it's kind of like it's like that concept where you have different modes like giant hawk, like in this game you'd have like giant puck or floaty moon slow moving puck or
Can you imagine if the devs like let you just slightly edit
or
certain things about the game and play test it, and it would almost be a way
like
for them to freely get advice on what could improve the game without them having to drop betas or anything or extra codes. You know what I mean? To have play tests.
hmm.
That would actually be a really good idea, huh? Like
Yeah,
change puck size or
like
puck bounciness, physics.
yeah, you do that. Yeah, obviously that'd be a private match thing, but
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
bounciness and shot power and player size even, I don't know.
And then you remember I talked about hockey bags. Obviously,
Yeah,
anything loot box related would be free. I would hope that since the devs are very adamant about wanting people to pay for something but not items. You know what I mean? Have like an in-game currency, and then maybe like something where you open a pack or something like I showed, and you get something for it. It'd be neat.
yeah, that would be
You,
neat.
you got anything else?
Mm, well, I
Drop a
can't
few
think
hints about Slap 2?
uh
No.
no, I can't do that.
You can't say I didn't try, but that's
Yeah.
okay. I'm sure we will find out more shortly. Hopefully about a beta or something.
Yeah, yeah, the devs will they'll tell us stuff as they see fit, like they have been. Because but one thing I can tell you is that they have been hard at work on the game.
Yeah, which is good to hear, because
I can guarantee you they've been hard at work.
for Slap 1, the work just kind of stopped, and then the league. It's funny because the league died after it. Like people were just, well, why are we still playing?
Yeah. Honestly, I only signed up for season 2 NSL because I was hoping for the physics update, but that
And then
didn't
you got
happen.
forced to play SPL because I asked you to. So,
Yeah, I
but
suppose.
you're taking that long break before Slap 2 comes out, and
Yeah,
I was thinking about doing the
it's a
same
much
thing, but
needed break for me. My life has just been so busy
yeah.
lately.
And I mean, I kind of hope I get to play with Belucha and Scods, but I got to see if Belucha even wants me there. We'll have to talk, so I know what exactly the plan is. I know
Yep.
Scods wants me there, but I just got to see if Belucha's on board with moving through to the season. So, all right, Noob, we're gonna end this podcast. I think it's been over an hour. We did really well for the first one.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Any closing statements?
Well, I gotta say thank you all for listening to our podcast. And remember, this is our opinion on the top 20 players list. If you don't like our opinion, you are free to tell us it is wrong.
Yeah, and that's fine. And I think honestly we were mostly positive. And
Yeah.
obviously we were able to be a little bit negative on Panther because he's our buddy. Like he knows that
And
we love
Jack.
him. And yeah, and Jack because they're our friends. But I felt like we were very positive with everyone who made it because it's our top players for a reason. There's way more good than there ever bad. So all right, and don't feel bad if you weren't chosen. There's obviously time to change, and me and Noob, if he does pay attention at all, might do another top 20, and we'd like to have guests on in the future, so maybe that would be easier to do.
Yes, special guest Jascon. We gotta book it.
Oh man, that would be my
We
ideal.
gotta
guest.
find out what Jascon sounds like.
Hawk knows.
We know what
Hawk
Oscar sounds like now.
Yeah, we know what Oscar does. We do not know what Jascon sounds like, but Hawk knows. Hawk and Noxu, which is a name you probably haven't heard in a while either. But all right, thanks for listening, everyone. Tune in next time. We're out.